Relative to the climate crisis, here are a few quotable quotes to guide us. Like it or not, for the moment the Earth is where we make our stand. Carl Sagan. Every single person on this planet is a stakeholder for what happens next. Nancy Reyering. Unless we connect directly to the Earth, we will not have the faintest clue why we should save it. Helen Caldicott. The age of nations is past. The task before us now, if we would not perish, is to build the Earth. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Necessity is the mother of invention. Plato. The true nature of anything is the highest it can become. Aristotle. The price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a mistake. Meister Eckhart. When we shift our awareness or frequency from self-consciousness where fear, impossibility or feelings of separation reside to cosmic consciousness, which is in total harmony with the universe and where none of those feelings exist, then anything is possible. Rhonda Byrne. No moment on earth is so unprecious not to be the experience of truth and love. John Birch. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Children must be taught how to think, not what to think. Margaret Mead. I've come to believe that each of us has a personal calling that's as unique as a fingerprint, and that the best way to succeed is to discover what you love and then find a way to offer it to others in the form of service, working hard, allowing the energy of the universe to lead you. Oprah Winfrey. You must find the place within yourself where nothing is impossible. Deepak Chopra. The real voyage of discovery consists, not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Marcel Proust. We have to face the fact that either all of us are going to die together or we are going to learn to live together, and if we are to live together, we have to talk. Eleanor Roosevelt. Conversation is our way of being in process and evolving together. Given the many crises that are emerging today, high-quality conversation is an essential evolutionary force. Tom Atlee. Conversations don't reshuffle the cards. They create new cards. Theodore Zeldin. When the well is dry, we will know the worth of water. Benjamin Franklin. Our problem is ignorance. Harry Rathbun. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Buckminster Fuller. What can go wrong, will go wrong. Edward Murphy. Our most urgent task, if we wish to survive, is to emerge a global community with a culture that works for the benefit of all life. Foundation for Global Community. If you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito in the room. Dalai Lama. We are being called to become as wise and loving as the system that produced us. Love Shift. I never worry about action, but only about inaction. Winston Churchill. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Mother Teresa. The only thing that will redeem mankind is cooperation. Bertrand Russell. No problem can withstand the assault of sustained thinking. Voltaire. Insofar as we think of ourselves today, as we were in the past, our past is guaranteed to resurrect itself and become our future. John Boyle. If you want to be good, do what you should. If you want to be great, 55 climate change quotes to inspire action for the environment. These climate change quotes are perfect for reminding ourselves to keep up the good fight, or for inspiring us to take action for the environment. Get motivated with our quotes on sustainability, saving our species and saving the planet. Here are the best climate change quotes and inspirational quotes about the environment. We are all living together on a single planet, which is threatened by our own actions. And if you don't have some kind of global cooperation, nationalism is just not on the right level to tackle the problems, whether it's climate change or whether it's technological disruption. Yuval Noah Harari. This is not a partisan debate, it is a human one. Clean air and water, and a livable climate are inalienable human rights. And solving this crisis is not a question of politics. It is our moral obligation. Leonardo DiCaprio. If you really think that the environment is less important than the economy, try holding your breath while you count your money. Guy McPherson. Climate change is sometimes misunderstood as being about changes in the weather. In reality, it is about changes in our very way of life. Paul Polman. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Jane Goodall. I want you to act as if the house is on fire, because it is. Greta Thunberg. By the time we see that climate change is really bad, your ability to fix it is extremely limited. The carbon gets up there, but the heating effect is delayed. And then the effect of that heat on the species and ecosystem is delayed. That means that even when you turn virtuous, things are actually going to get worse for quite a while. Bill Gates. We can't take climate change and put it on the back burner. If we don't address climate change, we won't be around as humans. Conrad Anker. We have a single mission: to protect and hand on the planet to the next generation. François Hollande. We are the first generation to feel the sting of climate change, and we are the last generation that can do something about it. Jay Inslee. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. Albert Einstein. The time is past when humankind thought it could selfishly draw on exhaustible resources. We know now the world is not a commodity, is not a source of revenue, it's a common good, it's our heritage. And the consequences of climate change are fully known now. We're not talking about theories anymore, we're talking about certainties. François Hollande. I play fictitious characters often solving fictitious problems. I believe mankind has looked at climate change in the same way, as if it were fiction. Leonardo DiCaprio. Even if you never have the chance to see or touch the ocean touches you with every breath you take, every drop of water you drink, every bite you consume. Everyone, everywhere is inextricably connected to and utterly dependent upon the existence of the sea. Sylvia Earle. Climate change is a global problem. The planet is warming because of the growing level of greenhouse gas emissions from human activity. If this trend continues, truly catastrophic consequences are likely to ensue, from rising sea levels to reduced water availability, to more heat waves and fires. Malcolm Turnbull. While the problem can sometimes seem overwhelming, we can turn things around, but we must move beyond climate talk to climate action. Ted Turner. We cannot burn our way to the future. We cannot pretend the danger does not exist, or dismiss it because it affects someone else. Ban Ki-moon. Men argue. Nature acts. Voltaire. The environment is where we all meet, where all of us have a mutual interest, it is the one thing all of us share. Lady Bird Johnson. The future will be green or not at all. Jonathan Porritt. If we pollute the air, water and soil that keep us alive and well, and destroy the biodiversity that allows natural systems to function, no amount of money will save us. David Suzuki. 25 years ago people could be excused for not knowing much, or doing much, about climate change. Today we have no excuse. Desmond Tutu. We are living on this planet as if we had another one to go to. Terry Swearingen. All things share the same breath, the beast, the tree, the man. The air shares its spirit with all the life it supports. Chief Seattle. Climate change, if unchecked, is an urgent threat to health, food supplies, biodiversity, and livelihoods across the globe. John F. Kerry. I'm often asked whether I believe in global warming. I now just reply with the question, do you believe in gravity? Neil deGrasse Tyson. Climate change is destroying our path to sustainability. Ours is a world of looming challenges and increasingly limited resources. Sustainable development offers the best chance to adjust our course. Ban Ki-moon. Climate change isn't something in the future. That narrative is fundamentally flawed because there are millions impacted and so many displaced already. That is the new inconvenient truth that no one wants to hear. Anisa Khan. There is no question that climate change is happening. The only arguable point is what part humans are playing in it. David Attenborough. Climate change is happening, humans are causing it, and I think this is perhaps the most serious environmental issue facing us. Bill Nye. We are running out of time, and we must have a planetary solution to a planetary crisis. Al Gore. Wind and other clean, renewable energy will help end our reliance on fossil fuels and combat the severe threat that climate change poses to humans and wildlife alike. Francis Beinecke. Saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth—these are one and the same fight. We must connect the dots between climate change, water scarcity, energy shortages, global health, food security, and women's empowerment. Solutions to one problem must be solutions for all. Ban Ki-moon. People of conscience need to break their ties with corporations financing the injustice of climate change. Desmond Tutu. The Earth is a fine place and worth fighting for. Ernest Hemingway. We must face up to an inescapable reality. The challenges of sustainability simply overwhelm the adequacy of our responses. With some honorable exceptions, our responses are too few, too little, and too late. Kofi A. Annan. The cost of our success is the exhaustion of natural resources, leading to energy crises, climate change, pollution, and the destruction of our habitat. If you exhaust natural resources, there will be nothing left for your children. If we continue in the same direction, humankind is headed for some frightful ordeals, if not extinction. Christian de Duve. There's one issue that will define the contours of this century more dramatically than any other, and that is the urgent threat of a changing climate. Barack Obama. The climate is changing. The proper political debate would be how to deal with these risks. Stephen Chu. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? Greta Thunberg. Climate change is the most severe problem that we are facing today, more serious even than the threat of terrorism. David King. A nation that destroys its soils destroys itself. Forests are the lungs of our land, purifying the air and giving fresh strength to our people. Franklin D. Roosevelt. The warnings about global warming have been extremely clear for a long time. We are facing a global climate crisis. It is deepening. We are entering a period of consequences. Al Gore. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. Native American proverb. One of the biggest obstacles to making a start on climate change is that it has become a cliché before it has even been understood. Tim Flannery. If you don't act against climate change, then no matter how much money you leave for your children, it'll not even cover their healthcare bills, due to living in an unhealthy planet. Abhijit Naskar. The clear and present danger of climate change means we cannot burn our way to prosperity. We already rely too heavily on fossil fuels and we need to find a new, sustainable path to the future we want. We need a clean industrial revolution. Ban Ki-moon. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say, we will never forgive you. Greta Thunberg. The shift to a cleaner energy economy won't happen overnight, and it will require tough choices along the way. But the debate is settled. Climate change is a fact. Barack Obama. As human beings, we are vulnerable to confusing the unprecedented with the improbable. In our everyday experience, if something has never happened before, we are generally safe in assuming it is not going to happen in the future, but the exceptions can kill you, and climate change is one of those exceptions. Al Gore. Climate change, in some regions, has aggravated conflict over scarce land, and could well trigger large-scale migration in the decades ahead. And rising sea levels put at risk the very survival of all small island states. These and other implications for peace and security have implications for the United Nations itself. Ban Ki-moon. I have long understood that climate change is not only an environmental issue, it is a humanitarian, economic, health, and justice issue as well. Francis Beinecke. Anybody who doesn't see the impact of climate change is really, and I would say, myopic. They don't see the reality. It's so evident that we are destroying Mother Earth. This is not the problem of one country or a few countries, it is the problem of mankind. We need to work together to stop this. Otherwise, our future generations will simply disappear. Juan Manuel Santos. Climate change does not respect border, it does not respect who you are, rich and poor, small and big. Therefore, this is what we call global challenges, which require global solidarity. Ban Ki-moon. A powerful message, spoken in the language of fires, floods, droughts, and extinctions, telling us that we need an entirely new economic model and a new way of sharing this planet. Telling us we need to evolve. Naomi Klein. We must now agree on a binding review mechanism under international law, so that this century can credibly be called a century of decarbonization. Angela Merkel. We cannot compromise with the Earth. We cannot compromise with the catastrophe of unchecked climate change, so we must compromise with one another. Gordon Brown. Some additional climate quote to help us wake up. The Earth is in a death spiral. It will take radical action to save us. George Monbiot. We are running the most dangerous experiment in history right now, which is to see how much carbon dioxide the atmosphere can handle before there is an environmental catastrophe. Elon Musk. We don't have time to sit on our hands as our planet burns. It's life or death. By polluting the oceans, not mitigating CO2 emissions and destroying our biodiversity, we are killing our planet. We have to start moving beyond targets, we have to start moving beyond aspiration, we have to start moving beyond statements of hope, and deliver real concrete action. Jacinda Ardern. The small island countries in the Caribbean, in the Atlantic, in the Pacific, and in the Indian Ocean and around the world, are on the front lines of being swallowed into an abyss, created initially by human activity and increasingly by inaction. Hubert Minnis. Are we going to look our grandchildren in the eye and tell them that we understood the issues, that we recognized the dangers and the opportunities, and still we failed to act? Nicholas Stern. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Anne Frank. It really boils down to this, that all life is interrelated. We are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied into a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one destiny, affects all indirectly. Martin Luther King Jr. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. Robert Swan. Calling it climate change is rather limiting. I would rather call it the everything change. Margaret Atwood. There is no more neutrality in the world. You either have to be part of the solution, or you're going to be part of the problem. Eldridge Cleaver. To damage the earth is to damage your children. Wendell Berry. We need to have a whole cultural shift, where it becomes our culture to take care of the earth, and in order to make this shift, we need storytelling about how the earth takes care of us and how we can take care of her. Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Dr. Seuss.